As being iconic instruments, it sort of goes back to the early days of rock and roll and pop, and the kids wanted to emulate their idols. And I think people, they just love the shape of them. It's a very feminine looking form, and I think that's what keeps people coming back. Musical instruments, they're not just an instrument, they can be a canvas, in which you can put all kinds of artwork, whether it's painted or it's inlaid, and so you've got something to work with there. But at the same time, I've also been interested in modern technology, so I employ CNC equipment and design a lot of in the computer. It brings everything together. With archtop guitars, they're pretty much a traditional instrument, and so they use the same woods as violins. It's figured maple, spruce, ebony, and they all produce different tones. And the hardware that's used, pickups, bridges, all that kind of thing, will also vary the sound of the instrument. So you can't always predict how something will sound. So it's a constant search, I guess, and people trying to find the perfect sounding instrument. If I made 10 of the instrument behind me, they would all sound very similar, but they would also have their own uniqueness, because no two pieces of wood are the same. Sometimes you buy wood, you don't know what's inside it until you've cut it, and that's just ends up being an expensive piece of firewood. When I bend sides, I use a bending machine. You have different size forms you bend around for different models, and then I'll final bend it with a hand bending iron just to correct any distortion in the shape. I still have to go in by hand and tune the tops and the backs, even after the machine's done its thing, because that's what makes the instrument sound the way it does. Sometimes design works hard. You can get writer's block. Sometimes I'll get an instrument to a certain point where then I'll step back, especially if I've got several projects going at the same time, because I have a problem coming up with where I want to take it from there. And then it's good to take a break, and then something will come to you sooner or later, and then you'll go back to it, and you're glad that you took a pause to decide what to do. I try not to copy particular instruments that other makers or manufacturers have made. I like to play with their designs and hopefully sometimes improve them and sort of get my own identity in a way. You look at my guitar and you go, yes, that's a Lacey. That's a form of expressing myself, I think. The difference between ordering a guitar that's been made in a factory as to what's coming to someone like me is the attention you get to detail. Every piece of wood is hand selected, every part is made by the same person, whereas with a manufactured instrument they're all pretty much the same. Customers that come to independent luthiers, they want to have a relationship with the luthier, and they don't get that if they're buying a factory-made instrument. They want to feel that they're part of the process. Well, if it's with an archtop guitar, they're made with traditional materials, and there's not a lot of room there to experiment. So you have options as far as the size of the body and the different types of spruce that you would use for the top of the instrument, even different types of maples. Size of the sound holes, you can affect the tone that way. Making them smaller will increase the bass response, it lowers the resonant frequency of the instrument. And it's only through experience, years of doing it over and over, where you get to a sense of how that change will affect the sound of the instrument. Well, when you have a well-known musician come over and play one of your guitars that you just finished for them, there's a sense of pride for me when you can see that they're spending that much time with the guitar, because with instruments you can usually tell within a minute or two whether you like the guitar or not. That makes it worth it to me. The sense of my soul goes with each instrument I build. It's hard to quantify it, but there's something of me, my personality, that's gone into making that instrument, and I think it stays with the instrument too.